Welcome back, everyone. Now I'm making some split pea soup to be canned for the shelf and just bringing you along on this second video. I've already done the ham. I've already cooked it in the crock pot and separated it. And so here in this pot, I am starting to do the recipe from the Ball Complete Book of Home Canning. And I'm going to be doing the split pea soup, Habitant soup. And I don't know why it's called that, but that's the recipe we're going to be using. And we start off with 16 cups of water, I believe, and I've added some of the bone broth to it because I wanted to cook the split peas in that ham broth just to add a better flavor and so that I wouldn't have to use so much seasoning. I don't plan on adding much seasoning. Here are the split peas. I am using green and yellow split peas. I didn't have enough of green, so I am combining them with the yellow. I am dumping those in right now. And just going to cook those down according to the directions for this recipe in that book. I believe I am bringing them up to a boil, and they are going to simmer for about an hour. Giving them a nice stir with my Whetstone woodenware spoon and just making sure that everything is nothing sticking to the bottom. We don't want anything to stick to the bottom. And now we're going to be adding the veggies that go with that. So I've got some carrots, some diced celery, garlic. I'm trying to think what else I cut. Carrot, celery, onions. Don't want to forget my onions. So that's all been diced up. I did a bunch of it earlier, and I'm going to be adding that. Along with that, I am also going to be adding a jar of my canned carrots. I didn't quite have enough of fresh carrots, and I wanted to make sure I had enough carrots in this recipe. So I do add a canned jar just to make sure I have enough. I'm also going to be adding the seasonings. There goes the onions in there right now. And it calls for salt. I do add some salt to this, but very little, and ground pepper. And I use some pretty sizable ground pepper. It's like the restaurant, so it's coarse ground pepper, and I will be showing that here shortly. But this recipe is one of our favorites, and we just thought it would really be nice to have this for in the truck when Marlin is trucking, and as well for me. There's 2 bay leaves that just went into the recipe, into the pot. I'm gonna cook them down with the soup. Of course, I'll remember to remove them prior to jarring the soup up. And we are involved right now in the Every Bits Counts challenge that Three Rivers Homestead hosts every year. And we really appreciate what Jessica does. She really has a great following with this. There goes the pepper. And it really helps us to use what we have and realize how much of what we grow and have in our freezer that we can use on each item. And one thing I didn't know a lot of was about carrots. Not only can you use the carrot, but you can also use the greens. I did not know that. I always just fed them to the animals, but I didn't know that. So we can use every bit of an item. Same with garlic. Not only do we get the bulb, the cloves, the garlic scapes, we can also use from that. So here I am using my 2-cup measuring cup from Azure Standard. I'm getting ready to fill my jars, and I am putting them in pint jars, and I'm making sure that I've got enough of the solids in the bottom of each jar before I add any liquid. However, this soup is a little bit different than the previous video of ham and bean soup that I also pressure can. There I am taking out a bay leaf. It is more liquidy than what the ham and bean soup, and I don't have to be near as cautious about overfilling these jars with solids. So I continue to fill the jars here with that, and I end up with, I believe, 11 pints total, as well as 2 quarts of split pea soup for larger meals. It's nice to have the small jars for when it's just one of us eating, but when we are eating together a meal, it's nice to have a quart, because we can eat probably 1 quart between the 2 of us for a meal. We enjoy our winter soups quite a bit. So here I am just finishing up that. I'm going to be debubbling right now, just making sure that everything is nice in there with no bubbles, getting rid of that. Then I will be, oh, there's another bay leaf, pulling that bay leaf out. Then I'll be checking for headspace here shortly, and then I'll add these to the canner. I try to keep my canner going all day since I've been up all night from work. I want to get as many jars in this canner as I can. And here I see that I need to add more to this, so I'm just going to use a smaller measuring cup just so I can top off each jar so that I can have the proper headspace. And I believe of these jars, I believe that I end up measuring them with my 1-inch tool, my 1-inch headspace tool that I got. I think I got it on Amazon during Prime Day. So that worked out really nice. I was able to get several things for Prime Day. And here I am measuring the jars, making sure that I have the proper headspace for canning. And I will be just taking some out of that one jar. It was a little bit too full, and I don't want that to cause siphoning, so rechecking my measurement there. Then I'll be taking some vinegar here and a towel wiped in vinegar, and I will wipe each rim there with that towel. And the reason I'm doing this is just so that we have a good seal and that we get any bits that might be on the edge of the jar on that rim from filling the jars. I'm going to continue to feel the jar also for any chips, nicks, rough spots. I just want to make sure that none of the lids or seals are failures. And now I'm going to grab my magnet, and I'm going to put my 4 jars lids on each of these jars. I also am not affiliated with 4 jars. I know there's many discount codes out there with other YouTube videos, but I don't have a code. I am not affiliated at this time, so I just really enjoy the 4 jars lids. They are probably the best lid, or one of the best lids that I've used this canning season. Between them and Superb, I enjoy both of them, but today you'll see me using a majority of 4 jars lids. So now I'm putting the rings on finger tight on each of these lids, and then I will be loading them up in the canner. The unfortunate thing is I load them up in the canner, but you never see me finish them in the canner. I'm not sure quite how that happened, but it did, so I do apologize that you don't see me removing these from the canner at the end of the process. I have another video with the ham and bean soup that does show that if you're interested in the all-American canner finishing. So here they are in the canner. I've got everything loaded and I'm ready to go. And I don't know where that video is of even loading up the canner. Not sure what happened to it. So getting the canner going, it is in there. I will start measuring with my scientific measuring tool, which is a Tupperware citrus peeler. Don't ask me why, but that is the tool that works. I can get that level with just running that around that rim. And it works really great to make sure that it is all level. When I'm done with that, I will start putting on the wing nuts. And those wing nuts, when you start cranking them down, you will need to do them from across from one another. And here I'm just talking about how the arrow needs to match the divot, and now I'm cranking down the first wing nuts going across from one another and putting those on. And then I'm going to be doing the last set here, again, across from one another and tightening down that lid. The one thing about All-American Canner is that they do have you put olive oil around the bevel in the inside so the lid doesn't stick and it creates its own seal. Once this is all done, it will steam for 10 minutes out the stovepipe. Then I'll add the weight and bring that up to 10 pounds of pressure, and I will can for 75 minutes those pint jars. So here we are. I'm going to turn the heat up. It will come up to temperature. This will vent for 10 minutes. That needs to vent. Once it's vented, I will put my weight on. And the weight is a 10-pound weight. It is from, again, my All-American canner. And it's right here. It says 10 pounds. I will slip that weight on that little spout, on the chimney spout there of my pressure canner. And it will pressure can then for 75 minutes for these pints. I'm going to finish jarring up the rest of the split pea soup, and then that'll be ready for when this canner load is done. Okay, the timer is set for 10 minutes. This is venting, and as soon as that is done, I will add my weight. And the timer has went off, so we are gonna add our weight. We're gonna add my 10-pound weight right here. It says 10 pounds. I'm gonna slip that on the stovepipe. We're gonna wait till this comes up to 10 pounds of pressure, and then we will pressure can for 75 minutes for pints. See you back when it's done. So I'm not done canning. However, I wanted you to see this. This is what, I didn't have enough for a jar, so I'm just gonna eat it for supper. And talk about amazing. This stuff is fabulous. So we are at 10 pounds of pressure. Weight is on, timer start. 1 hour, 15 minutes. So here I am getting ready to pull out the last canner load of split pea soup. We ended up with 11 jars of split pea soup, or 11 pints I should add, and 2 quarts. We like the pint jars to use for work or traveling, and the quart jars for a meal when we need a little bit more here at the house when we're both home eating. Just want to thank Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead again for hosting this collaboration of Every Bit Counts for the month of August. Check out her videos as well. along with others that have contributed to this month's challenge. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining, and we appreciate all the new subscribers. We welcome you and just really appreciate that you find value in us and take the time to watch our videos. Thanks, be blessed, and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great day.